When we burn fossil fuels, the carbon dioxide that's released goes up into the atmosphere and gets thicker and thicker, and it creates kind of a blanket around the planet. The sun's energy can come through the blanket, but it can't bounce back out. And so over the past 100 years, we've basically been building up a lot of heat on the planet, and that's resulted in warming temperatures and warming oceans. The planet has natural cycles of warm times and cold times, ice ages and heat events, but we haven't seen anything like what the planet's going through, and it's happening faster than almost at any other time in the Earth's history. Oceans have actually absorbed about 90% of all this extra heat. It's like putting a kettle on the stove and turning on the stove. And over the past 5 years or so, we've started to see the warming, not just of the surface of the ocean, but actually warming down into the deeper depths as well. Warming oceans is going to have dramatic effects on the productivity of our ocean areas. Fishermen were some of the first observers of changes in the ocean, and that change really is the shifts in distribution of marine species. They were catching things that they thought would be much further south, species from warmer waters. And as the oceans have warmed, the distributions have shifted northward towards colder temperatures. We know that that will affect fishing communities. At some point, it may no longer be viable to fish the way they've been fishing because the fish have moved too far away. The United States is preparing for climate change in a variety of ways, and it begins with understanding what's changing now and what do we expect to change in the future. Now at Fisheries, we are focusing on what's the effect of warming oceans on fish stocks or marine mammals or sea turtles, and then trying to use climate forecasts to understand what's coming. For example, we're working with climate and ocean modelers to try and project as best we can what are the future conditions that we should be planning for, and then ask, well, how can we help maintain or sustain these species? What can we do to help reduce impacts on fish stocks and fisheries? And how do we build resilience for warming oceans or other changes? And this is for fisheries management, protected species conservation, and habitat protection. Our changing climate, our warming oceans, our shifting fish stocks are huge challenges. It's a great opportunity for us to come together, find common ground, and figure out how do we sustain these fishing communities into the next generation. I think the solution is to be communicating early and often and talking more about this. And that's what's happening. In this country and around the world, we're talking about climate change. We're talking about solutions. What do we need to do to reduce our greenhouse gases that we're emitting? And what do we do about the changes that we've already set in motion? I'm hopeful. The conversation is growing, and by talking about it, we can find solutions.